Welcome back to WRPL. It's the podcast where we talk about all the things we were watching, reading, playing, and listening to. My name's Ben.
And I'm Steve.
What's up, Steve?
Not much, Ben. Excited to be back with you here on Sunday. It's Last of Us Sunday.
Yeah, and it's also May the 4th. So May the 4th be with
and
you.
May the 4th be with you.
And did you celebrate watching your favorite Star Wars stuff? Did you watch Andor?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
I didn't think so. Well, today's episode is Thunderbolts, asterisk. And not much else. We'll talk very few things.
Ben didn't finish Wheel of Time. I didn't finish Black Mirror. Tune in next week. Will it happen? You have to find out.
Maybe. We'll just keep kicking it down the road to the end of the year. Let's start with a roll.
That's a 5, but it caught this little line here, so I'm going to re-roll it.
Don't even.
13.
Cool.
You're catching up a little bit.
A little bit. All right. Well, I win, so I go first. This is more of me just asking you.
Sure.
We like Dropout.
We do.
I went through all the game changers, rewatched everything except for like the two newest stuff. That was still fresh in my mind. Only a few I hadn't seen, but most of them were just fun rewatches and seeing all the behind the scenes. Do you watch those as well?
Yes. I'm not sure if I watched the latest one.
Okay. It's so impressive to see the scope, especially like the Ratfish, knowing that they're doing Ratfish episodes, but at the same time, knowing that Lou, Vic, and Jacob are doing their 1 year thing because that episode was like 2 episodes before this. Like trying to do the deja vu episode and having things repeating and like the hidden buzzer one, the undertaking it takes. And so when it takes an entire year to get a couple episodes out, I'm not going to complain. You know, I'm going to complain about Last of Us season 3 not coming out till 2027, more than likely. That's a huge production that has tons of money behind it. You could get that shit done much quicker. Dropout's a much smaller program, but I didn't want to really talk about that. They have a new show called Parlor Room.
They do.
Have you watched them?
I did watch the first episode.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
It's fun, especially if you like these actors. It's the main reason why they're so successful, because everybody is just fun to watch.
Yeah.
And
they're all, I would assume, like, at least to some degree, they're all friends with each other.
Friends with each other, yeah.
And
like
so they all know how each other work, and they all can banter to the end of the earth.
And it's what creates like the crazy parasocial fans that go, man, I just want to be friends with them. Yes, we all do. We would love to be as talented as them and to just run in their circles. But this, I think, is one of the best shows where you could just see them be themselves. You know, everything else they're putting on a performance of some kind because they're playing a game or whatever.
There's no prompt other than like, what is the game?
Yeah. So this show is just taking people's favorite board games, none of that boring Monopoly shit, but some of the more modern cool things. The first episode was Wavelength, which I would love to play. It seems really fun. And then the second one
seems
is
like your kind of game where you get really frustrated if you're like, what kind of answer did you throw out? Not answer, what's the word I'm looking for? What kind of clue was that?
Yeah. And then the second one was called like Bullets and Dollars or Bullets and Diamonds.
Yeah, or Cash and Guns.
Cash and Guns. Maybe it's Cash and Guns.
I saw the title. I didn't watch it.
And it was like an instant watch for me because it had Vic, Lou, and Jacob on it.
Nice.
So, you know, you got to.
So it was a good episode?
Yeah, it was because, you know, Lou is a madman and is backstabbing Jacob the whole time. And Jacob is getting like really frustrated because he's trying to call for alliances with people and they're stabbing him in the back. Vic is going off on crazy tangents and it's a good time. And it's hosted by Becca Scott. And you can tell she's like frustrated at this group because everyone's kind of having their own conversations and she's trying to run a fucking show here and try to keep people on track, and she just has to kind of be like, okay, everybody shut up, come on, we got to keep playing. But I'm excited to see the future episodes because this is a great way to just learn about games that I know nothing about.
Yeah, it must be frustrating to. I mean, as someone who like occasionally will run, a game night, like it can easily go off the rails, and you're trying to rally everybody back
Uh-huh.
in who like are just there because they're like, oh, we're here for a good time and we're having a good time not playing this game. It's like, yeah, but like I'm having a good time playing the game. Like you got to do
Mm-hmm.
this, but then on top of we're all professional improv people, so like we're just can do bits all day. It must be
Mm-hmm.
like so annoying, but in a good way, I
Yeah.
guess.
And what's her name? Kimia is there,
Hmm.
and I can tell she does not give two shits about what's going on. Like, I think either she doesn't like the game, is having a bad day, but you could just tell she's not down with everybody's clownery right
Hmm.
now. But all in all, fun stuff. And I finished the final episode of Gastronauts that I just never got around to.
What was the last one?
It's Mike Trapp is one of the guys, and I can't remember the other the judge, not the judge, but the like kind of game master on I'm actually with Iffy
Oh,
that guy.
Brian.
He has a three
Yeah,
name
yeah.
name. Yeah.
Brian David Gilbert. Is that it?
Okay, that sounds familiar.
Either way, I know who you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. And then I feel bad, but the Asian dude who had his own stand up special.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Chris something.
sure. But also was very funny. Just like Trap's thing was like a root beer float, but savory. And I'm
Okay,
like,
I did
oh
watch that.
god, that sounds so disgusting. But they turned out some really
Yeah, yeah.
good things, and I just, whatever they got, give it to me. I love it. But I will say the last episode of VIP was really disappointing.
Mm.
Uh, it's not my place to tell someone what character they're going to create, but the actress, she's so meek and mild, and I know that it's funny because she's trying to play a really bad guy, like
Hmm.
it's a parrot wearing like a Hawaiian shirt, but is also kind of like a Tony Montana character, but in this very meek
Yeah, yeah.
voice. And I can see Vic is trying to like steer it like, oh, well, maybe you're forced to being this bad guy, but you're really a nice guy. But the actress is just like, absolutely not. I know exactly what I want to do with this character. And it just isn't that great.
Doesn't quite land.
Yeah. And I thought there's got to be at least one more because I know Izzy and Brennan have like a duo one.
Mm.
So maybe that's this week. I thought it should have been out last week, but whatever. I don't keep track of that stuff. I just pull open the app every once in a while and go, oh, new
Oh,
episode. Cool. Except tomorrow, new game changer.
there
Yeah.
we go. So, for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, get the Dropout
Yeah,
app,
I mean,
full
we've
of
mentioned it a
comedians.
bunch of times
Yeah, yeah. But
before.
if this is your first episode,
That's weird. Jumping
Dropout,
on
formerly College Humor on YouTube, now or College Humor had its own website,
yeah,
not necessarily on YouTube,
yeah,
but most of you probably watch it on YouTube.
probably.
And then yeah, now it's Dropout, and it's great and full of great people, and they're all very funny.
Yes.
And support them.
All right. You don't have anything else, right? Or do you have something
I
besides our
have
main
two
topic?
things.
Oh shit. Okay, go for it.
So one thing no one cares about, and I didn't really care about. I watched an anime, My Hero Academia. You're next.
Okay.
I've
Is this a
seen.
movie?
It's a movie, yeah.
Okay.
In between seasons, they've I think released three. This is the third movie,
Okay.
maybe the fourth. And I've seen them all, and for the most part, I've always enjoyed them. They're just
Hmm.
fun little action movies with people with superpowers. But once again, it's kind of like more the same. It's the same movie where there's a guy who's way too strong, and then they're able to team up and beat him or whatever. And the story always like you know where it's going, you know how it ends, because like while I believe the movies are technically canon, they're not part of the manga. And the manga is farther ahead. This is just like an in-between story. So you're like, none of these characters are like gonna die or anything.
Hmm.
So there's no real stakes to it. You're just kind of there for like the fun action. And there's some fun action stuff, but it's all I don't know. I wish they just did something different in the story, other than just like here's another bad guy with a group of bad people with him, and then they break off and fight, and it's just. So if you like My Hero, you're gonna enjoy it, but I think it's probably the weakest
Because
of.
the last season's coming back, right? Or
Yeah, I believe the next season is the final season. And, as successful as it is, who knows if they're going to do like another movie or whatever.
okay.
But Yeah, so if you're a fan of My Hero and you haven't seen it, check it out. If you don't care about My Hero, you're not gonna need to see it. It's more the same.
It's called My Hero what?
My Hero Academia, you're next.
You're next. Okay.
Yeah, like the big thing is, so the big hero of My Hero Academia is All Might, and he's like the
He's
greatest.
still around? I
The
thought
great.
like he was like dying because the kid took his
Well,
powers or
he's no
something.
longer a hero in the sense like he's no longer going out there and like fighting bad
Ah.
guys because he doesn't really have his powers anymore,
Okay.
more or less. But like this is just now someone has like taken his like face and looks like exactly like him, and he never says like I'm All Might. He's not like trying to say like he is him. He's just
Hmm.
like I'm his new successor, who just also happens to look exactly like him. And his power is like matter manipulation, so he can manipulate the matter to like look exactly like him. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's just, and they're like, "You're a fake idol, and we're gonna beat you. How dare you stand where he stood?" All that shit. And yeah, it doesn't fucking matter. And there's like a whole plot line with a.
You could move the mic closer to you so it's closer to the table so you can
There's not much room.
well,
There's
turn it.
There's a whole plot line where there's like a rich girl who they kidnap because her power like enhances other people's powers that she
Mm.
touches, but like she can't really touch other people, and so she's like very lonely, and her butler comes to save her. It doesn't fucking matter.
You're really selling me on this.
Yeah, I'm not saying watch it. I'm just saying I did and thought it was just okay.
Okay.
I'll be happy when this like series is over because I've invested this much into it. I'm going to finish it.
Yeah.
This is my Walking Dead.
But see, I don't have a disdain for Walking Dead. I'm not.
But no,
I'm not begging for it to be done.
I would argue that my show is better than The Walking Dead.
Well, my show, Walking Dead with Negan and what's her face, is back tonight. New season of Dead City starts tonight.
Is this 2 or 3?
Season 2.
Good for you.
Okay, well, I got kind of a big one.
Okay.
Do you want to do? Is your other one small or is it also?
Yeah. Unless you wanted me to wait for Havoc.
No, I don't care.
Okay. I also finished a movie, another one, Havoc on Netflix, starring Tom Hardy, directed by Gareth Evans. Sure.
Yeah, Edwards. No, Gareth Evans is the.
Is Gareth Evans? No, Gareth Evans is Godzilla.
Yeah, Garrett Edwards,
Edwards
is the Raid 2.
Yeah.
Or the Raid.
That one. From the director of The Raid and The Raid 2, two movies I fucking love. Tom Hardy is a, kind of somewhat crooked cop in a city where Forrest Whitaker is running for mayor, and Forrest Whitaker's son gets tangled up in like drug deal gone bad, and so it's up to Tom Hardy to kind of pull this kid out and uncover the corruption that is ruining the city.
Is his name like John Havoc?
I don't remember, but it's definitely not Havoc.
Okay.
And so I was really excited because I have enjoyed the work of this director, and you see his name, and it's like, okay, he knows how to do action. I'll see this movie. From the trailer, I was like, it kind of looks generic, but maybe he'll add something to it. This movie fucking sucks. I did not like this movie, which is a shame because. It also has like Timothy Olyphant in it, and I like him. I like Forrest Whitaker. Tom Hardy, I more or less like. I think he's
Gareth Evans.
Gareth
did do The Raid.
Okay.
Gareth Edwards is the one that did Monsters and
See, I knew
Rogue
it was right.
One and Godzilla Creator.
I know it was right. You're fucking me up.
Yep. Sorry.
Anywho, so I think part of the problem, like, there's some decent action sequences that you wouldn't expect in sort of like this, B like direct to DVD movie that Tom Hardy's in, where like there is some better like fight moments, but this movie's so gun heavy and it's so like when the guns are going off, it's so chaotic. It almost seems like even like handguns have like they're semi-automatic or something. Like everything is just like constantly firing, and there's nothing like so inventive with like the hand-to-hand stuff, and there's very little of it that I'm not like, oh, this is a really awesome fight sequence. Tom Hardy is just being like Tom Hardy. He's a shitty dad, but you never see his family. You never get the sense that he's like a really good cop. Timothy Olyphant's kind of like, I guess, half the main bad guy of this movie because the other half is like this Chinese, or I don't even know, because I don't know what city we're in and maybe they don't even, maybe they do say, maybe they don't. And to be honest, I don't even know if it's a Chinese. It's an Asian gang of some sort who are trying to. Who's like the leader of this gang. Her son gets murdered, and the blame is on Forrest Whitaker's son. So she's going after him for some fucking reason. I don't even know. I was like so checked out of this movie. Luis Guzman shows up for a moment because he's like the uncle of the friend of Forrest Whitaker's son, and it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, you last week off air, you told me there's something that happens and you just kind of have
Yeah.
to go with it. What is that?
So, from the very opening scene of this movie is a car chase sequence, and none of it is real. The entire car chase sequence, like, I mean, if you like show someone's face, obviously
Sure.
they're real, but like the entire thing is just it's a CGI car race.
Okay.
A car chase, and you can tell immediately. And then I thought, like, well, that's a weird choice, but maybe they were just low on budget, so this would be the only part that's like that. But like, anytime they're like outside in the city or there's a wide shot, it's always just like it's a CGI city. Like, anytime a car is going down a street, it's CGI
And obvious?
blatantly obvious.
Huh.
It's so weird that like they didn't have money to shoot in a city. But so I looked into it, and I think like they filmed it in some other country, but they're like, we need to make it look like New York.
Okay.
So then they just CGI'd around it to make it
Okay.
look more like an American city instead of just
Romania
shooting
or something.
in an American city. It just seems so low budget and below everyone who's in this movie. And then like any character you think you should care for, you don't give a crap about because you don't really get to know much about them as people or like why you should invest in their character or the story. And then you get to the final like shootout sequence, and by the end I was just like, this is just absurd. It's so shaky camera because like the guns are going off and the camera's shaking. It's just so jarring. Like the Raid and the Raid 2 were so amazing because like everything like was in camera and you always knew what was going on because it wasn't so like chaotic. Where this whole movie is just chaotic and the camera work is not doing it any favors. And when this was over, I was just like, thank fucking God. It's not even a long movie. It's just a disappointment across the board.
And what was
It's
it?
just
Wasn't it made like 5 years ago and just been sitting on the shelf?
Yeah, yeah. And I think that they had to do some reshoots and stuff. But yeah, it was shot, I think, in like 2020 or something like that. 2021 maybe. But yeah. If you're thinking about seeing it, skip it. It's going to do nothing for you unless you're just a dude who, I just like seeing dudes kill other dudes.
Yeah, you know,
Then maybe it's for you. But
there's plenty of people like me who like they watch only horror movies.
sure.
And there are people who watch only action movies or martial arts movies. You know, but if you have a broader spectrum of your taste, like you do, you know, maybe it's not worth your time.
Yeah. So I'm going to give it D plus.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to have to say it, even though we talked about it last week. I listened to a book, and I mainly listened to this book because
It did make a sound. It's just, what books sound like?
I flip the pages and I just get it through osmosis. I just know. Because I was thinking about the movie adaptations. And I was like, you know what? I want to watch those again because there's the original and then the American remake. And I was like, I should probably read this book and just see how it all compares. Any idea what I'm talking about? It's a foreign book, a foreign language movie, and then it was an American remake.
Is it in the horror genre?
Yes.
Oh. Let the Right One In.
Yes, good, Steve. You're so smart.
It was either that or what's Funny Games.
Oh.
Wasn't that I don't know if it was a book, but it was a foreign movie.
That was a foreign movie. Yeah, I mean, that would have been an okay. Yes, I listened to Let the Right One In. You know what, for years.
Is it a Swedish book? German book?
Yeah, Swedish.
Swedish, okay.
It's written by John
Don't even try.
Ajvide Lindqvist.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I think. I listened to him say his own name, but he also has an accent.
But in their country, it's pronounced Johnson.
And for years, I always called it "Let the Right Ones In," and that's not it. It's "Let the
There's
Right
only
One
the
In."
one.
That's just the one. But for years, I was calling it, and even writing it down in my book, I wrote "Let the Right Ones In." It just sounds better on the tongue. Anywho, I got the audiobook and it's pretty great.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
little long at times. I
Hmm.
think it takes a bit of time before it really gets rolling. Sometimes there's scenes that just I feel are kind of unnecessary.
Hmm.
But all in all, it's good because it does a lot more than what the movies can do, obviously. And then rewatching the movies, they're so similar and they're both so faithful to the book, but still kind of do their own thing in
Yeah.
their own way. But it was weird listening to this book because they would mention scenes of, she goes to the hospital to kill her caretaker, and they're talking about her being on the roof and like spreading her arms, and she actually has kind of like bat wings. And I was like, huh, okay, I think that happened, right? I could picture it. I can see
I
it.
mean, I only saw the movie once ages ago, but
And that does not happen in the movies. And then there's this older kid that lives in the apartment building that Oscar lives at, and kind of, is always trying to make a buck. And he kind of hangs out in the basement, huffing glue with his friends. He's like an older kid that likes Oscar, but they're not friends. They're
sure.
too far apart in age, and he's just like one of the kids that isn't picking on Oscar. I was like, yeah. He's in at least one of those movies. No, he's not in either one of them. So it was weird
Does
watching.
the paint huffing kid get killed by the vampire?
No,
Oh, good.
Paint Huffing Kid actually saves the day, kind of,
Oh, sweet.
because there's some big differences. Like in the book, the father figure, the caretaker, uh, in both movies is different. In the American one, they just call him the father, and they show like old pictures of him when he was a little
Yeah.
kid. So like, oh, this Abby vampire is going to do the same thing to Owen,
Hmm.
and he will have to take up upon this role and grow up and everything. In the original movie, he is just like a guy taking care of her. They don't go into too many details. He kills the people and gives her the blood. In the book, he's a straight up pedophile. He was a teacher and was a little too touchy with his kids, so he got fired. He becomes an alcoholic, and Ile is her name, finds him on like a park bench, just completely drunk, and is like, "You're mine now. You're gonna do these things for me." In assumption of some sort of tit for tat, blood for,
Ugh.
yeah. Now,
I hate that.
now they don't go in like, because there were times where he's like, please, like, I want it and give it to me, and she's like, no, absolutely not. You go give me some blood and I'll let you lay in bed with me, and you can like cuddle up against me, but you're not going to get to fuck. So, but it seems like maybe at one time that was a thing. And this guy, he's even going to like brothels where there's like children prostitutes. And when he's in a like a YMCA to get his next victim, and he's seeing these boys changing, and they're talking about him just like having a hard on and coming right then and there and having to clean it up so his DNA isn't left behind. Like, he is a pervert. And so after she bites him and lets him fall out the window, she thinks that's enough to kill him, but it isn't. And if you remember, he pours acid on his face to hide his identity. That was something I completely forgot happened in both movies and the book.
No,
He
no.
carries a jar of acid on him, so if he gets caught, he could pour it so no one can find out who he is, where he's living, and to get Abby or Eli. And so he's in the hospital, burnt face, like only one eye is showing. They had to like graft an eyelid so he was able to blink. His mouth is completely, melted together. And he survives the fall, and he's now just like wandering the streets or through the woods trying to find Eli to go back home because he's gonna fuck her one last time. He's gonna finally get it. And he like even like gets on her and legs above her head and stuff before it happens. But that glue huffing kid beats him to death with like a trophy and just like mashes his head in. And then at the end of the book, there's like this epilogue of, oh, that crazy killer that we caught and then escaped, he's in the hospital in critical condition. So like even after getting his head bashed in, he survived that. And so he's still out there. He doesn't actually get defeated at all. But by then, Eli and Oscar have fled. Yeah, it's much bigger.
Holy
Yeah, it's
Christ.
crazy. And I was like, damn, I kind of wish we saw not the rape, but like him just in like a hospital gown walking across this bridge with a melted face, just with this hunger to go after the person he desires the most. It was just
Mhm.
like crazy and fucked up.
I mean, I've never seen the original. I hear the original is great. Uh,
Original is great.
but I did see the American remake directed by Matt Reeves, who
Mm-hmm.
is always great.
Always great.
But man, I was blown away by that movie. I thought that movie was great. I loved seeing like what you said is you see the picture of Richard Jenkins' character
Mm-hmm.
is like been with her for 70 years or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
and Oscar's relationship with her. And I loved like I remember the scene that really stuck with me was like the kid who was bullying Oscar is just like, man, this kid's a real dick. But then you just see like his older brother is
Yeah.
bullying him, so he just
Mm-hmm.
takes it out on Oscar. And I was like, just from that
In that
one,
one, it's Owen. Oscar's in the
or
original.
sorry,
Yeah.
Owen, and just like from one little tiny 30-second scene, you understand that character and why he does everything he does
Yep.
to Owen. And I'm just like, it's just simple, great filmmaking in this
Uh-huh.
shit.
And that's
And
the same in all of
it's a
them.
vampire story I hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that version more than your version. It's fucked up. I don't care for that version at
Yeah.
all.
The original is really great because like you look at the American one and it is an American Hollywood slick looking film. And that original, it's only 2 years earlier,
Hmm.
older, but it looks like it was maybe shot in the late 70s or early 80s.
Oh,
It
okay.
feels because it's set in
Sure.
83. It doesn't have the slickness of Hollywood. It feels lived in. And then the little boy Oscar has like the dumbest fucking haircut, and Eli is kind of androgynous, which is part of the book that I completely forgot that Eli is not a girl. Eli's a boy.
Oh.
Abby's a boy. They're boys. That when they were turned into a vampire, they were castrated, then turned. And in the original, you see her like changing. It's a mannequin, so don't worry. But she's like putting on a dress, and she just has like a little scar there that
Ah.
Oscar sees. And even in the American, Owen's looking at Abby showering, and his eyes get big, and he runs away, but they don't really show it.
Ah.
So yeah, there's lines in it where it's like, would you like me even if I wasn't a girl? And he's like, yeah, of course. And then he calls her a girl, and she's like, I'm not a girl. And even in the book, after it's revealed that Eli is actually Elias, they start calling her him. So, but still Eli, but then saying him
Hmm.
instead of her. So that's fun. Um, the bully stuff is much bigger in the American one. The book in the original, it's there, but it's smaller because there's so much other stuff that's
Sure.
happening. So in the American one, I think they really ramp up kind of his loneliness because of the bullying and discovering sexuality. He
Hmm.
sees like his neighbors making out, and she like her top comes off and he's checking out the boob, and he's just like seeing these things, and that's way more heightened and gives a reason why he kind of wants this relationship with Abby, and that's not nearly a thing in the original. It's more of just like little kids being friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, One thing I never noticed in the original, I mean, in the American one, is that uh, Owen's mom, she's so like passive. Even in the book, it's like he's getting in trouble, but she's like, "Oh, don't do that. Let's go watch TV." And it's just like very, like, still going, like, went through a divorce and everything,
Hmm.
and trying to do her best, but maybe she's just not the best mom. So in the American one, you never see her face. You hear her talking. It's always obscured by something, or you could see her reflection, but it's warped in a way because like she's almost kind of nothing of a
Hmm.
character. She's there. So I thought that was a really nice touch. Um, both great, love them. I think I like the American one maybe just a little more because it condenses everything in a nice way.
Okay.
In the original and in the book, there's these kind of older drunken characters who just hang out at a bar and drink and smoke all the time, and there's a woman who she gets attacked by Ile, and there's a scene in the original movie where she goes into a friend's house who has like 20 cats, and all the cats just freak the fuck out because she's a vampire now and just start attacking her. And she's just like start whipping them around. It's really awful in the book. Like she's smashing them and stepping on them, and it's not great. But
This book is fucked up.
they cut that out of the American one, and they turn those characters into, even though they were already neighbors to our main character, they're different. Like they shrink down their role and really like laser focus in on what's their purpose for the greater story. And I think it's just handled much better. My biggest complaints between the two, okay, that cat scene in the original movie, the effects of these cats don't look great.
Okay.
And it's a little cheesy. The thing I don't like about the American one is the effects of Abby attacking people is way too much. Like there's, it's in a little tunnel and she's hiding in the shadows like, please help me. And the guy picks her up and she hops up on him and starts draining him. But you can tell we're getting a little too cocky with our CG and being able to do like full body motion. And it's just like a fucking monkey jumping around. And it's so like staggering to see how different it is that like from a real person to a CG person. It's just so obvious. I remember the first time I saw Blade 2 and they were doing full like ninjas fighting Blade in his hideout. I'm like, wow, look at that. That looks really good. You look at it now and go, Jesus, that looks like shit. And it doesn't hold up at all. But all in all, 2 sweet fucking movies and a really good book. And apparently they turned it into a show on Showtime. There's a full season of Let the Right One In, and it's like in America, and it got canceled after 1 season, but I think they make it more the father isn't a serial killer, a pedophile, or anything like that. That he's actually like a good man just trying to help his daughter who has an affliction called vampirism. And but it didn't last, and it's not streaming on anything. Like it's just lost the time.
Now that you mention it, I feel like part of me was like, I feel like I do remember there being like an ad for it or something, but clearly no one cared about it, and no one advertised it since.
And in the trailer, it's like from the the studio that brought you something in Yellow Jackets. Like, oh, this even came out after season 1 of Yellow Jackets, and it's not that old of a thing, and I guess people really didn't have Showtime at the time.
Damn.
Yeah, but oh yeah, and Elias Koteas is in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Casey Jones is in it. Totally forgot. Like that, his character is small in the book, not in the original, but takes stories from some of the other characters. It's just more cohesive and just makes more sense. So,
shout out Matt Reeves and American Remakes.
Oh yeah. All right, you want to get to our main topic?
Let's do it.
All right, Thunderbolts, the latest Marvel movie, number 36, directed by the guy who made Robot and Frank. He did a lot of TV shows like Dave, and I know he did episodes of Dave.
The director's name is Jake Schreier?
Oh, yeah, Schreier, yeah. And what else did he do? Because it's not nothing.
Oh, he directed Beef.
Yeah, episodes of Beef.
And he did some Skeleton Crew.
Lots of TV. But he does have a couple of movies. If you go back far enough.
Brand New Cherry Flavor, which is something you liked.
Yeah, that was a really weird show.
A little bit of Dave. Kidding for Showtime.
Keep going further back.
Lodge 49, whatever that is. Betty Blanco videos. Haim videos. Oh, Paper Towns. And directed some Shameless episodes. But Robot and Frank was like, I guess Robot and Frank and Paper Towns were his big movies.
Yeah. And, him working on Beef is probably where he made friends with
Steven
Yeun, who was supposed to be Sentry in this, but...
And after watching this movie, I'm like, yeah.
I can see. I mean, he's a tiny guy. He's a little boy. Like, Steven Yeun is not a big dude. And I think you need someone maybe with a little more mass to him, but I think he could handle it.
I think he could have done it, at least in this version of what this role calls for, which we'll get into later. But I mean, I said it on this podcast before. Put Steven Yeun in everything. That
Yeah.
guy is great,
Yep.
and I'm disappointed he isn't in the MCU. It's more reason for me to be excited. But, you know, if they wanted him for this, they'll pick him up for something else.
Yeah, and he even said, "Hey, I didn't get this one, but keep me in mind for the next time." Because
Yeah.
he's not going to be able to play Invincible. He's too old to do the live action Invincible movie. But yeah, we'll see if they use him. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Thunderbolts is a very loose adaptation of the comic book, but just like every Marvel Civil War or
Infinity War.
no, there was another one that had like a specific name that it wasn't that. Oh, Age of Ultron.
Oh,
They take the name and they don't always do the exact
Sure.
source. It's like you get
they'll get some nods, but
some
more it's like
flavoring
original
of this.
thing.
But
that's Earth 287 or whatever. This
Sure.
is Earth 616. What do you know the bullshit?
I think our Earth is like 199999999 or something. I can't remember. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
None of
matter.
that stuff matters. But this is a story of all the Marvel rejects, the anti-heroes, the people who get slip through the cracks
We're
between
kind
like
of
good
bad people.
but-
Not kind of bad people, but just they were bad
they're
people.
good. Maybe they're good people, but they do bad things.
Sure.
You know, and then they're all forced to kind of team up to take on a bigger threat. That's very, very loose of what this movie is. I'll go first.
Sure.
I thought this movie was pretty damn fun. I had a good time. I think everybody gets a little bit of chance to shine, except for Bucky. I think they kind of like shafted Bucky, even though has enough screen time. I don't feel like we had enough character time with him compared to like a Florence Pugh or even John Walker. I think was like really good in this. It's nice to see a simple Marvel movie. Yes, you have a big bad guy who could potentially be this big global threat, but it really is a small self-reflective story about your past trauma, which is like the theme of this year. It seems like there's just everything is an allegory for past trauma. But what did you think of this movie?
Ben, I shit on Marvel movies a lot.
And this is no difference?
And this is different.
Nice.
I really like this movie.
Good.
I'm not one of these people who's like, has Marvel finally made a comeback? Is it a return to form?
Movies are back.
I went on. There was a picture that had like the past 6 Marvel movies, and it's just like rotten one, good one, rotten one, good. It's like, I mean, unless you like discount Deadpool and Wolverine, which is in the MCU, but like kind of is on the coattails of like the stuff before it. Like technically, that's a very highly regarded, successful MCU movie that came out last year.
Yeah.
And then I forget. There was another one. Oh, Guardians of the Galaxy. Once again, kind of riding that one. You kind of knew wasn't going to get fucked up, and you could argue is the worst of the 3.
No.
I'm just saying. I could see people saying that, but it's still like made a bunch of money, highly reviewed.
It's one of the only like Phase 5 movies that it's like extremely well liked.
Yeah.
And
so it's just like
money.
everyone's just like, yeah. Over the years, has there been like a decline in movies? Sure, but like good MCU movies haven't completely gone away.
Yeah.
They've been coming out every single year.
Yeah.
It's just there are also shitty ones in that year too.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Anyway,
because I was thinking about, oh well, they're on a streak. They had Deadpool, Wolverine. Now this, wow. Oh yeah, there was a Captain America movie earlier this year that I completely forgot about because it is so forgettable.
But I mean, don't get me wrong, I have plenty of like nitpicks in this movie. It's not perfect in any regard, but for what it is and what it does with the characters it has, I thought it was really well done. And I am interested to like get into the nitty gritty of it because I definitely have some things to say.
Okay. Where to start? I think this movie really is held up by Florence Pugh. She is one of the few actresses that we have now that's like a star.
Yeah.
She is amazing and doesn't really miss.
Yeah, this is one of my high praise for this movie. Florence Pugh, you can put her in a sock commercial, and I'm
Yeah.
sure it'd be a great commercial. She is so good at this character and acting in general.
Mm-hmm.
And in this movie, I think she's just fantastic. And I've heard people say like this is basically a Black Widow 2 movie, and she's just
Sure.
the star of
You
it,
just
or
yeah.
she's this is her movie, and just everyone else is just in it with her.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can kind of see. But yeah, she's just great throughout this whole thing, and just the real, kind of leader of this group and emotional core of the movie. Well, her and Sentry essentially are the
Mm-hmm.
emotional core, but just her like chemistry with every single character who she's met before, hasn't met. The relationship with her and David Harbour, Red
Mm-hmm.
Guardian, is just like great stuff.
She's
Zero complaints about her in this movie. I think she really carried this movie.
her ad-libbing or her kind of like banter, because this is like a funny movie, but it's not trying hard like so many Marvel movies to like here's the joke, pause for laughter. Um, there's just she's good at coming off as really natural. I don't
Hmm.
know if it's the accent or something, but she almost feels like she's not stumbling over her words, but they're just coming out like a real human being and not someone who's reading a script. And it's just a testament to how fucking good she is and just everything she does.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's always talked about like tonally the issue of comedy and cutting in jokes and in serious
Mm-hmm.
moments. Like Marvel just can't let there be a serious moment. They have to throw in a joke at the last second.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I didn't laugh once in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I chuckled once, or
Maybe a
maybe
smile
I
or
cracked a smile here
an
and there.
exhalation of air through
Yeah,
your
but at
nose.
no point did I ever think this movie was funny.
Mm.
But at the same time, I don't think it was lacking like joy or charm or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I think it had plenty of that. But it was never just like I couldn't tell you like one joke other than when it's the opening scene and she's like telling a story and she's talking to the one guard that she has to.
Uh-huh.
She's like, "You're not listening to me." Like
Yeah.
that part, I was like, "That's kind of
When
funny."
the doctor
But
like blows his face off and she's like, I needed that face. That's
yeah,
funny. I think David Harbour calling the Winter Soldier Mr. Soldier is very funny. There's just it's small little
yeah, it's
character
not
jokes.
like
It's not a
jokes.
joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I appreciate that about it. Um, what else? We talked about it before. John Walker, I think. Kurt Russell, or
Wyatt Russell.
Wyatt Russell, thank you,
Mm.
is very good at playing an asshole,
Mm-hmm.
and he does this character well. And I like that get enough of his like what's going on, why is he doing this missions, like how is he, they even talk about how are you making it work with a wife and kid, and
Yeah.
it's like you just show up and do
Mm-hmm.
your best or whatever he says. But then you find out later it's like, oh, his family left him because he's a
A
piece of
piece of
shit,
shit. Yep.
which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just that's character work. Red Guardian being you know
Pathetic
a
loser.
pathetic loser who like has a limo service,
Mm-hmm.
who's like you kind of give him that job to give him an excuse to just
Have a
happen to be
car.
there,
Yeah.
to like hear Julia Louis Dreyfus' character like talk about top secret stuff in front of this limo driver that she hired versus like
Someone
having
who's
like an
in
actual
their like circle
circle
of
with an
people.
actual limo and
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's all just plot
Sure.
crap.
Yeah.
But whatever. That being said, he injects a lot of the joy in this movie that is tackling such heavy sort of subject matter and these characters who are all bad people because they've all murdered innocent people, like all of them. But he's just like so charismatic and fun and just loves his daughter so much, and
Mm-hmm.
not even his real daughter,
Yeah.
but just like I am the dad, and holding pictures of the little Thunderbolts team and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and just he's just
Where they got the
great.
name Thunderbolts, I thought was pretty funny. Just like a
Yeah.
childhood soccer team. Uh, I do wish he had a little more time with the Winter Soldier.
Hmm.
Like they had to have crossed paths at one time. Like I can see Hydra and the Russian government teaming up for a thing, and Bucky being like, "Sorry, man, I don't remember any of that. I was brainwashed at the time."
Hmm.
If they had a little more going on, because Red Guardian and Black Widow said, "Oh, I fought Captain America back in the day, but." Our Captain America was in the ice at that time. So who was he fighting? Was it, I don't know who it could be. So it would have been like interesting to see them kind
Hmm.
of talk a little bit more about it, but it's fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna disagree though that you said earlier, like you think every character gets a shine. I think Ghost gets the shaft in this fucking
Sure.
movie. Of all the characters in this
Sure.
movie, like I can't even really count Taskmaster,
No, they're
because
just there to die.
they're there to die, and which is a shame because Taskmaster is such a cool looking character. But it's like I get you cut that one out because it's basically you throw anyone behind a mask in there, and then if you want to bring that character back, now you bring back the original one, the real one from the comics or whatever. So I get it.
Yeah, Ghost does get the least amount
it's
to
just,
do.
Ghost has such cool powers, and outside of that not opening, but their first fight scene where they're all together, like that action sequence is a lot of fun and like a good use of her powers. But then she's just kind of there to just be part of the team. I don't feel like she ever really does any, like, I think, and we'll get into it later, but I think there are moments in this movie, and this is one of the downsides. It's like, I just wish that her character either had something more important to do, or the same way Walker got a flashback and everyone kind of got their moment. She never had a moment in this movie.
Yeah.
It's just like, we need to fill out the team. Like, Bucky's going to be out for a while. We can't have 3 people. It's not big enough. Well, let's get Ghost in here, and we'll figure out what to do with Ghost down the line.
Yeah. I feel like she did have a scene where she got to touch Sentry and get that flashback, but it didn't propel the story at all, so it got cut.
Maybe.
So we'll see on the DVD.
Yeah, I'll pitch something down the line.
Okay.
But,
yeah, I wish she had more, especially when they were doing that car chase in the desert, and she gets out like, ooh, what kind of cool ghosty power is she gonna like jump into that other car, beat people up, and then they just blast her with a sonic cannon and be like no.
Now she's useless.
Yeah, so
we can't pay for you can't keep paying for this effect.
Yeah, so it's a shit. Like, if they would have done it one time, she beat them up, got rid of one car, and then the second car said like, oh crap, it's the Ghost, deploy the sonic cannon, and then
Ghostbusters. Anyway,
in all of her fights, she uses it in a fun way of just like disappearing, appearing in front of them, taking them out, but nothing so crazy that is a memorable scene.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't even need to talk about Taskmaster because. And then, so the only character we haven't really talked about is Sentry. And so, what do you think of Lewis Pullman as Bob / Sentry / the Void?
I think he does a good job, especially when he's just kind of dopey. Like, he has to play dopey Bob, like cocky and confident Sentry, and then menacing Void. And I think he does a really good job of all 3 of them, and that effect of the Void is great. Amazing silhouette, because it's nothing but silhouette and eyeballs. And
not even eyeballs, just like 2 light dots, and it's so
center vampire light dots. And I think they could have done something boring where you could still see a lot of contours, but it's all just black. But like maybe barely the edge of his jawline or something, but there's practically nothing you can see of him. And it just is very effective. And then the effect of his powers is really kind of scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Hiroshima, like, shadow blast that just happened instantly. And I thought it was very fun. And their fight scene in the tower of him just kind of like taking it. Bullets don't even fucking touch him. Like, bullets bounce off Superman.
Yeah.
Bullets don't even get anywhere close. And I think they were a little too vague on what his powers are.
Yeah, that's one of my criticisms is, like, one, we don't really know all the things he can do, which I guess you could argue is fair because he doesn't know what he can do either. But, if you're a comic book fan, he's practically a god. He's one of the most powerful beings in the comics,
like,
or whatever.
Laser blast, telekinesis, and then like atom rearranging.
Practically like omnipotent.
But I think if they keep it with like, when the Void's there, he can manipulate matter and he's able to blast those people away. But when he's Sentry, he can have the telekinesis, but not the matter manipulating. One of those, like, Emma Frost.
Pretty much all the comic books always make them more crazy powerful than whatever. And the movies have always downplayed their powers. So like, they can definitely cut his powers down in the same way they like did Adam Warlock, where it's like, well, he's not this superpower being because we brought him out of the oven a little bit early, so he's also kind of stupid too.
I'd like to know what the MCU thinks. Like, could Captain Marvel kick Sentry's ass,
Hmm.
or would Sentry be able to whoop Captain Marvel's ass? Because Captain Marvel's right now the most powerful person, but she's been with her powers for a while. She knows how to use them. If given time, could Sentry take her on?
Yeah. I guess we'll see. Um,
Tune in for Avengers Doomsday. I could see Captain Marvel not even being in that. I could see Allison Brie just going like, nobody wants me here. I like her, but the fans don't want me. The Marvels is considered one of the biggest flops in Hollywood history, not just MCU, but like a three $400 million thing, and it only made like $28 million. Like it flopped harder than Joker. Which they just came out recently saying like last year that was like financially, like looking at all the numbers, the Joker was the biggest flop.
which is such a crazy drop from being
A
a
billion-dollar movie.
Oscar-winning
Oscar-winning $1 billion movie. But hey, and I can see what's his name?
Even the mighty fall.
Todd
Phillips.
Todd Phillips. That guy ain't getting shit for work. He's going to be directing TV shows for the rest of his life. Unless he's paying for it himself.
He had a successful comedy career before Joker.
No one's going to trust him unless they're like, we'll give you $5 million. Well, it's going to take 15 to make this. You get 5, and that's all you got.
I think worse people get
all the
changed all the
time. Whereas like we'll see the next movie Ryan Coogler makes will be his paycheck or his blank check movie.
Mhm.
You made us Sinners. It was a huge hit. What do you want to do next? We'll just throw money at it. Just like Bong Joon-ho did Mickey 17.
Sure.
Oh, Parasite made a ton of money. Cool. You could do whatever you want. Mickey 17, crazy big flop. So I wonder what like Ryan Coogler is going to do with his. And I think that's the opposite of Todd Phillips. Is just like, no, you don't. Your paycheck or blank check movie was Joker 2, and you fucked that so hard. So, anyway, let's get back to Thunderbolts.
Back to Thunderbolts.
Sentry.
Yes. One of the things I would say that I wish they went a little bit harder on, and I know this is the Disneyfication of the MCU, is you have a character who has past trauma, is depressed, whose backstory is, I did a bunch of meth and traveled through Asia, and we get a glimpse of him on meth, but it's him in a chicken suit, and he's like, I was on meth at the time. Like, I kind of wish, like, in a Disney movie, you'll never see someone actually take drugs. And I think it would have sold his trauma more and sold this image of, like, how messed up my life was, because you saw him actually doing the job. I'm not saying like we need a close up of the needle going in his arm, just like him in a bathroom, like with a needle in his hand, and then just kind of moving towards his arm, and then cut to the characters reacting like, "Oh, this is really sad," because like
staggering around Malaysia, crumpled up in an alleyway. Someone comes and goes, "Hey, you want to make some money? I got these tests I can do."
Or like you could see him going into an alley with a guy, and you're like, is he doing something? For this man to get drugs.
Disney's cutting that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
But
I think like and I'm okay with it if they didn't have this scene in the end, which we'll get to later, where he's just like, oh, this room is bad, but every other room is worse. But like your worst room is you having a job spinning a fan as a chicken. Like it's just like and that's your meth scene.
Yeah.
So it's like if you just had a scene where like I saw this person at the lowest possible point doing this thing that everyone knows you shouldn't do. It's fucking meth. Like you're talking about it. Like I know this is a movie kind of for kids, but it's also the bad guys and sort of not a dark movie, but darker subject matter for sure.
A character gets shot in the fucking head, right?
I think that it was your chance to, if you're going to show trauma and the things that this guy went through in this unique way at the end, like really show that to really sell this image of like why he is so messed up versus just like kind of catching glimpses that aren't really glimpses of him on meth.
Yeah. You see like a dysfunctional household with his mom and dad, and that's like, well, that was the precursor to the drug use.
Yeah.
And so we saw like the early start, but not the journey he had to go through.
Actually, I'll tell you my favorite joke in this movie. And it's at the end, but they're going through the rooms and they burst into one. It's like, you're not taking him anywhere or something. And they just, like, I think it was Walker just instantly uppercuts the dad. Yeah. And they're like, let's go. And they just keep walking. That was my favorite joke. Yeah. But anyway, so those are the characters. Overall.
And Valentina.
Oh, Valentina. I like Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
But you didn't care for her in this role? I thought she was very sinister. We don't see her as a bad guy like this.
I think it's fun seeing her sinister, but I think ultimately you could have gotten any actress to sort of do this role. I don't think there's anything like standoutish enough. We've always seen this sort of CEO-ish character who's willing to like do bad things to gain more power, or gain more money, and you get a glimpse of her backstory, which is just like I guess it. I think her backstory didn't really do anything for me. It's kind of like, oh, so she saw her father get murdered over something. So it's like,
that
I don't really get why that launched her into this career of
sure.
like,
And
it's just
it
it's
doesn't
like, did you
necessarily
just feel
have
so
to.
weak in that moment that you were like, well, I'm never going to be in a position to lose
Sure.
again? Or like,
It is just their worst memory, and your
yeah,
worst memory doesn't always define who you are.
yeah, like, correct. But it's just like, okay, so why show us that at all?
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe it's
it's
keeping
just,
it.
am I supposed to sympathize with her so she's not all that bad?
Mm,
But like, she is kind of just as much the villain in this movie as the Void is.
yeah.
So it's like, what purpose did that scene serve for that? Unless
Sure.
you could argue, well, they did show that so they can use it later. But I don't love that in
Hmm.
MCU shit where it's like, well, we're doing this thing that doesn't make sense for this movie, but it's going to pay off later.
Yeah.
Like that's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Her whole thing just I didn't care about.
Hmm. But
Um,
you know who we didn't? I'm surprised. Her assistant, her Geraldine Viswanathan,
mhm.
who I love from Miracle Workers. She's great. Love this actress. Um, I thought she was dead when she was calling Bucky, and Julia Louis Dreyfus is like, oh, she's learning her lesson about loyalty or whatever.
Mhm.
I figured we would cut to the window and you'd see a body fall.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, something like that. But no, she does the kill switch on Sentry, and then we never see her again.
yeah.
So I'm assuming she's probably going to be with the new Avengers. Oops, spoilers. Just as I don't know, they're Jarvis or something like that.
Well, I didn't know anything about her or her character, but I saw something where I guess she's a character called like Songbird or something like that.
Oh,
I think she's supposed to be a hero of some kind.
huh.
Um,
And did you know there was supposed to be Ao Idibiri? She
oh,
was going to be that character,
I could
but
see that.
there's I don't know, maybe conflicts with Opus or something, and
Sure.
and she had to drop out. I mean, maybe. I mean,
I don't feel like
Songbird.
looking it up to research it, but
I thought that
that's what
was
I saw.
Hawkeye's wife was, or was that Mockingbird? I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Well,
But if she comes back as a hero, great.
cool.
If she comes back as an assistant, also great. I like that actress.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
Australian. Would have never guessed.
oh, there you go. Uh, so another criticism I have: the first like hour and 15 of this movie, like I wasn't bored. It wasn't bad. It was just a big chunk of this movie takes place at that one location with the vault and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and it just seemed like it was taking forever to leave.
Mm.
Like I was kind of just like, can we get things moving? Like I enjoy these characters together, but I needed them to see. I need them to do more stuff, or like give maybe if you're not going to care about Ghost later in the movie, like give Ghost more to do in this scene and like
Yeah.
why she is important to this part of the movie, or like she's the one who grabs uh Sentry
Sure.
in the elevator instead of Walker. So because we can find out later that Walker's family left him or whatever, and we
Mm-hmm.
would still get the same sort of like image. I mean,
Sure.
it plays more because you see him being like a
Sure.
dad who's neglecting the baby, but like at least give her a flashback and like give her character.
And
some-
what's that flashback? Steve, you said you had an idea?
No, I'm not saying.
Oh,
I don't know what her character's backstory is, but they just kept going like, oh yeah, it was a child experimented on. I just mean like we'll get to it later.
okay.
But I just in a movie where Ghost doesn't really get to do anything, like
Yeah.
you have this big chunk of the movie where they're just kind of hanging out this bunker, and I just wanted it to like get to moving.
And I saw a review they were talking about like they hadn't seen the trailer and they thought like, oh, is this whole movie going to be in this bunker? And it's all about them working together to get through these traps, one after another, and then that would be the whole thing. You don't have a big villain or anything like that. It's just these kind of ground level quote unquote heroes getting through these obstacles, and like that could be a pretty fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Ghost, there's a part she can't get through the wall because they got some force field thing on
The sonic
the
boom
sonic
or
thing,
whatever.
and they're like, well, if it's for her, there's got to be a separate like
Power
power
source.
source, and it's just in the room. Like, how does that make any sense? I don't.
Yeah.
The
So
logic of that didn't work
this
for me.
is like nitpick stuff because it's like we got to get the story moving.
Yeah.
So you have and like I've never designed a bunker to stop superheroes, but you would think like as you walk into rooms all the time, and it's like, oh, this room has air conditioning. Doesn't mean the fucking air conditioning unit is in the room.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that unit to be in that room other than like, I guess the bunker was built first, and it's like it just cost a ton of money to like drill into the wall
Yeah.
or whatever. And then they're like, all right, they didn't kill each other. Better turn on the heat blasters or whatever. It's like, good thing we have this 2-minute countdown to let the heroes know, hey, you got 2 minutes to escape. Which I thought about. It's like, I guess you could argue it's for the people who work there, so they like, okay,
Clear the
2
room.
minutes till the room heats up. But it just seems like how convenient that they. And also, once again, I don't know how big giant heat blasters work, but it just seems like kind of thing. Like at this point in our society, they can just turn on instantly. Like there's lots of things that shoot fire, and all you have to do is press a button.
Yeah, and if that counter was going, and you saw each of the different turbines like powering up and slowly charging, and it takes 2 minutes.
It just seems so arbitrary that it takes 2 minutes to shoot fire into a room.
And that's what, like, if you're gonna do something with Ghost, don't have the specialty thing unless it was like they can tell it's a dome. You know, oh, I can see. You have to have this thing in the center because this is what's projecting the dome of sonic stuff. So it has to be in the room. It's not. They don't normally have that built into the room because it's a very specialized thing, and maybe that's more what it is. It's something you can move around to anywhere to trap her, but you don't have that, and you have the countdown timer too, and it's like, well, where is this thing? I don't know. We'll go find it, and she has to run out of the room. And she's dropping through floors. And, you know, she was talking about getting trapped in the rock and suffocating. And have a scene like that where she's, you know, like maybe she is constantly counting in her head to know she could only hold it for a minute. And she's trying to get through the rocks, and it's 49, 50, 51. And, you know, finally gets out, and she's having to go floor to floor to find the power source to turn off to open the doors or whatever the hell. And that would just be something for her to do.
Yeah.
But it's like, nope, it's too easy to get out of the situation using Ghost powers. Let's just nerf her. Just take out Ghost to begin with to make it easier to write. But let me ask you, I was thinking about, like, if you were to like drop Ghost because it just makes writing the story easier and you don't have to think of weird contrivances to nerf her. But you wanted another character. The director was saying he wanted Man-Thing in this from Werewolf by Midnight.
Yeah, okay.
But decided, it's better without it. But I was wondering, like, teams like this usually have some sort of weird little freak. You know, the Guardians have, like, Groot or even Rocket. Suicide Squad has Weasel. The Creature Commandos has Weasel and G.I. Robot. Like, they always have
the Avengers have Nick Fury.
Like, there's always just, like, I mean, with the Avengers, it's the Hulk. You know, you've got your weird one. Can you think of any character in all of MCU that you could add to this movie if you wanted to add another character? It doesn't have to be a weird little freak, but if you wanted something else, because I was thinking, oh, you put in a random Asgardian or something. Too powerful, you know, when it comes to fighting a Sentry. Well, what about like a Wakandan? Well, they're all relatively good people. You got to have the bad guy. So I was thinking of like, oh, what about Daniel Kaluuya from the first Black Panther? He betrays the Wakandans and stuff. So maybe he got out of prison or whatever, and he's been doing these sort of similar things, and add him to try to redeem him because everyone likes Daniel Kaluuya, and you know, we haven't seen him since. And like, okay, well, you know, maybe he's too bad. I don't know. But I was having a hard time trying to think of who else you can add. And I was going through all the movies, and like if Crossbones didn't die in Civil War, I think Crossbones would have worked for this. But can you think of anyone else?
I think I saw someone pitch Punisher, but it just wouldn't feel right to have him in there.
Punisher's not a team player.
Yeah, he's not a team player, and he has no interest in like redemption or actually doing hero stuff. He's like, my mission is to murder as many people as possible. I mean, if you want like a freaky character, like you already kind of have Abomination sort of being a somewhat redemptive character in
Yeah, in
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk, yeah.
I remember.
I do think having a big CGI character kind of throws everything
Yeah,
off
I'm
from
glad they
this.
didn't do it.
Yeah,
But I mean, that is a character who you could argue
yeah.
like could throw on this team,
Mm-hmm.
or you really don't have him Hulk out at all because it's like, oh, the government has injected me with so much stuff, but like I'm basically a super soldier. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
Abomination pre-transformation, and then you get to the end where he finally like hulks out and it's completely useless.
Yeah.
So you could still have Tim Roth or 80-90% of the movie, and then just
Mm-hmm.
throw him in at the end.
Yeah.
Or you do the same thing with Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford, former president of the United
Sure.
States, I know he like just came out, so it'd be weird to have him again in the next
Yeah.
movie. But it's
And
like,
he's in the raft. He's not doing these mercenary type things. So,
well, sure, but it's just like,
but politically, I could see him making sense of like we
yeah,
gotta
well,
take him out.
yeah, we need to kill him or whatever. Like people
Or
think he's on the raft, but we're gonna throw him in here. If they don't kill each other, we'll throw in Red Hulk and he'll kill all of them. But like maybe he's able to control it, or he's been taking pills, or
sure.
whatever the fucking thing is to like nerf his powers to the movie. And then
Mm-hmm.
you have the fun of Harrison Ford, and he's giving shit to Walker for like
Mm-hmm.
not being a true American. Like what? And he's like, "Well, you destroyed DC like
Yeah.
last week, buddy. Don't give me
Mm-hmm.
shit." And it's like, "Well, you're a Russian spy, and we don't like Russia." And it's
Yeah.
like old man energy in this group of young
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that working,
Sure.
but at the same time, I don't want two different versions of the Hulk
Yeah.
on this team. Uh,
I thought like maybe Shang-Chi's sister is running like the Ten Rings criminal organization. So
okay.
that's bad guy stuff, but what's that character's name? No
Yeah.
fucking idea. And so like there would be no point in adding them to the roster because they're relatively forgettable and
Yeah.
haven't done anything since, and I'm sure they're saving for Shang-Chi 2. But it's kind of hard. I don't think there's really any. I think they have the perfect mix of people.
I think, yeah, the best that they have to work with.
Yeah.
And all very likable actors.
Yeah.
Like no one's bad.
Yeah. Unless maybe an extremis person from Iron Man 3, like one of them survived, the heat people,
Yeah, yeah.
but maybe it's like okay, who? All the ones that we know uh visually, like because of the actor or whatever,
Yeah.
they're all dead. So it would just be, "Hi, I'm random extremis guy."
Sure.
You can't the most obvious
They would
one
just be there to die in the first scene
exactly.
anyway.
Like the most obvious person who shows up in everything is Wong. But Wong is Sorcerer Supreme right now.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wouldn't be a part of that. And it's like, okay, so America Chavez? I'm just trying to like rack my head of anybody who's maybe shown up. And like the only person who I think maybe could work would be White Vision.
Oh, okay. But then, like, if White Vision has the same powers as regular Vision, it's like, and it is just. I feel like visually they look somewhat similar to Sentry,
Okay.
and then just from like the cape and the
Mhm.
suits, I think are very similar. And then it's just like, do you want two people who have somewhat similar power sets just going at?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we want people who don't really have much in the way of superpowers going
Mhm.
against a fucking
Exactly.
god.
You can't. That's why you can't have an Asgardian, because you can't have people. Oh, we all just punch and shoot, and then a flying robot who could phase through things and shoot lasers and stuff. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it just like I could see Vision working when it comes to like trying to talk down Sentry, and Sentry just kind of like annihilates them and completely vaporizes them
Rips him
somehow.
into
Yeah,
something
like that.
launches them into space.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Yelena.
Yeah.
The big emotional crux of this movie, the through line, we'll say, the theme is trauma and depression and loneliness.
Mhm.
And like you said earlier, it's a thing that seems to be popping up a lot, but I don't feel like it felt like really preachy, and I thought it was done very tactfully
Yeah.
and like didn't like overstay its welcome or feel like it was trying to heavy-handed in any way.
Yeah.
I thought for the material it did it very very well and did it justice. And another reason I really like this movie is I think if I believe I'm correct, it's the only Marvel movie to actually make me shed a tear. I'm not gonna
Oh.
lie, it worked on me.
Okay.
And it's like, and I still saw it coming, but so what kind of riled me up And I didn't get the tear, but so they have the fight with Sentry. They're defeated. She's like, we're all fucking losers. We're not a team. We can't defeat this guy. Like, let's just get out of here. And then she's talking to, she's walking down the street. Red Guardian shows up, and they just start talking. And he kind of is giving her a pep talk, and then she just goes, "Daddy, I'm so lonely, or I'm so alone." And I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, I started feeling some things in my body. I was like, "Damn, she's so good at acting."
Yeah.
It's like this hit me because like this is a character who you've seen like murder people through and through, innocent people, but then just for a minute she's that little girl talking to her dad. And I was like, oh, this is good stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is the character work I've been wanting from this shit for ages. And then, but the part that got me was at the end where they all just kind of like do a big group hug, which is kind of a silly fucking way to end a Marvel movie. It's like if they didn't beat the villain through like sheer force of will or whatever, it's just like the power of friendship is kind of what saved the day, which is like pretty lame. And it's the thing I saw. It's like I knew this movie was going to end with like a hug in some regard. I thought it was going to be a thing where like you see Sentry facing himself and then giving him his shadow version of hug, and then like that kind of fading away. He's like, I've learned to accept myself. But I'm glad they didn't do that because it wouldn't make as much sense as just like, well, that thing's never going to go away because you just decided like, well, I can live with the duality of
Giving
myself.
it a hug is doing the thing she said doesn't work, is pushing it down.
It's like, oh, these people are the thing that are going to pull me out of this darkness. So I think that works better.
For sure.
And this group of people who are all like solo acts and like don't work well as a team finally like coming together and like doing the superhero thing that like I wish more superheroes did. Like that's what I like so much about Chris Evans as Captain America. Like whenever he wasn't being a superhero, he was like working with regular people. Like seeing him doing like group therapy after like the snap and everything, I really really liked. Talking to the war vets at the party in Age of Ultron and just like doing hero shit when he's not in the suit. I really like that stuff. So seeing them like, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, Sentry's a superhero, Void is a supervillain, but Bob is just a guy.
Yeah.
And like them kind of just holding him down, like, hey man, like you're not alone, we're here with you. I was like, fucking Christ, like, and it just got the one. I was like, this is a good movie. Like the last 30 minutes of this movie is fucking great. Because the Void is scary as shit, Sentry's fight was cool as hell, and then there's like character work and story and emotionality, and it just all fucking worked for me. The last 30 minutes is some of the best Marvel shit I think Marvel's done. And it's, like you said, it's not, this big final villain battle thing. It's not like them using all their different abilities because they can't use anything against this guy. But I want to talk about the Void for a second.
Sure.
Because so we see the Void turn people to shadow. When he turned that little girl into a shadow, my jaw dropped.
Yeah.
I was shocked because at this point we hadn't learned that. I mean, I was shocked because I didn't see it coming, but then in my mind I was like, they're not going to kill a kid. Yeah. So I knew that.
So as soon as Yelena does it, it's like, okay, she's back. She'll be back.
Well, no, I mean, as soon as that little girl was gone, I was like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to bring that little girl back. Because just from the context of the movie, it's like, I thought like, oh, you turn somebody into a shadow person, they're just gone. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah, I didn't think you were taking them to a different realm. I thought you were nuclear blasting them into the floor.
Yeah. So we get to the climax of this movie where Yelena goes into the shadow realm and is looking for Bob, and she's reliving some horrible memories and stuff. And I think all this was really cool. We see, I mean, you saw it early in the movie when she first touched Bob, but her first mission as a Red Room assassin was to lure out her friend to have a guy shoot her in front of her, which is like, that's dark shit for like a quote unquote kids movie. Boy, can't you fucking drug use. But anyway,
I thought that was Red Guardian who shot her at first. Like,
oh, that would have been good.
Yeah,
but doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that was cool, and then we see her like assembling a gun, and then she was the fast one to do it, so she didn't have to take a whip to the hand, which is craziness. Like all of her stuff was way darker than Bob's stuff. It's like, give me some dark Bob shit.
Yeah.
But I really liked all this stuff because a lot of it seemed practical effects, and I liked how they travel. Like this is kind of like the multiverse of madness shit that I really dug into. Them like going into one room and then seeing the meth chicken, but then like opening what do you call those doors that are like in the street?
Doors in the street.
Yeah, like you're walking in New York City and there's kind of doors like
Oh yeah, like going into a basement, like a
basement,
shelter.
cellar doors, whatever you
Yeah,
would call, and they go down there, and then they're just in a different memory.
yeah.
See, this is where like you could have done some ghost shit.
Okay.
You could have because certain characters got their little backstory moments. Like show something for Ghost. Give us a snippet, even if it's a tease for something in a future movie. Even though I just said earlier, like it's kind of the shit you hate, but at
Sure.
least if it's something that you could work
But you
with.
could cut to anything from Ant-Man and the Wasp of them talking about her past and just showing her in a hospital room with tests happening, and it's just like a quick shot. You hear the heart rate monitor go off, and then you're out of it. You know.
Because I mean, I like this movie because it's I think like a tight 2 hours and like 2 minutes or something like that. It's or maybe it's even less than that.
It went by real quick for me.
Yeah. But it's like I don't want this movie to be 2.5 hours or extend, but like you just needed like 2 minutes with Ghost,
If that.
if
Yeah.
that. And then early in the movie, another thing I would say is she said, "Oh, my powers, I've only ever used them for a max of 1 minute." Okay, that's the Chekhov's gun. Where at the end of the movie, they're like, "Oh, we can't like you'll never make it in time. You can only go for a minute, and it's going to take you a minute and a half or 2 minutes to
Yeah.
get there." And then she's like, "I have to try,"
Yeah.
and she's like the reason that the team succeeds,
Mhm.
or like they're all pinned on the wall at the end, and she's able to phase through, but he's using telekinesis to still push her back. But because she does something in her ghost form, allows Yelena to get in there and give him the hug, so then they can all join.
Yeah.
Do something with that, or maybe because she's in the shadow realm and they're like, how do we can't get through this wall. I mean, that's kind of like her whole shtick, but like if maybe her power allows her to do something in the shadow world that no one else can,
Yeah.
or like she's the reason that they can all get to him and Yelena in his childhood room, because like I can fast track us there.
Sure.
Otherwise we'd all have to be going through our own separate memories, and we're running into random street people's memories too. But you could have also like maybe lean into some comedy in that realm, because like whose memory is just like, and you just see some guy who you saw on the street, or like, or you're in the little girl's dream because she's never had a bad day because she's such a sweet innocent child.
Sure.
She's like, her worst dream is like, I didn't get ice cream today.
I was just gonna say she's about to lick the ice cream and it falls off. Yeah.
So there's I think missed opportunities in the shadow world, which maybe we'll do down the line if and when the void comes back.
Sure.
But yeah, all my complaints are just like minor minor nitpick stuff, and just like I think the pacing here is a little slow at times. I didn't really talk about Bucky. You said Bucky didn't really do anything for you in this movie.
Yeah, it just feels like they made him a senator for no reason other than
That's another thing. It's like
someone who's in the room who then goes and does and goes after this stuff because they want to try to prove their case to the Senate.
Yeah.
It felt weak and just not fleshed out enough. Like watching Daredevil and seeing a criminal get elected as mayor, and real life, having this former spy,
Soviet
assassin,
asset who's killed American citizens,
Hydra guy, like the modern Nazis and stuff, like, and then him getting to office. Okay, that's cool. I wish it
they could have done
something, but besides just going, oh well, I gotta prove I'm a good senator and I'm gonna go get the evidence
if you
myself.
saw a senator riding a motorcycle with a shotgun, Terminator style, who looks like that, you'd be like, yeah, I'm fucking voting for that guy.
Yeah.
Because Sebastian Stan is a handsome man.
Yeah.
But Bucky, I think his whole senator stuff, I agree, like just doesn't work for me. You could have, I think, written around that. It's like, yeah, he's not a senator, but he works closely with Wendell Pierce's character, who shout out 2 Wire actors in this movie. Very excited to see that. Put more people from The Wire in. Wallace was Killmonger. There you go. Who else do we have?
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll see.
What's his face was in Punisher Warzone. He was Jigsaw. McFarty. What's the main cop guy?
McNulty. McNulty was in Punisher.
He was in Punisher Warzone. He got
Warzone.
Yeah,
I never saw Warzone, but yeah,
it's pretty fun.
Anywho, but I think what I like about Bucky is I think because we've been with Bucky for 10 years now, we know him. He doesn't need to do a whole lot, but I think he does add charisma to the group. I mean, I know Yelena exudes it, but there's just something charming about Bucky's brooding Jon Snow-esqueness, you know? He's just like he doesn't really say jokes, but because of his like stoicism, it is something about him is quite funny.
Hmm.
And you just like seeing him, and even though he should be the leader of this group because he has the most experience with like the Avengers and all these people are, you know, he's kind of like the reformed one who's like, I wish they kind of did something more with that. It's like, I've been where you guys are, and you know, look at my example, and you can become a hero because that's
Hmm.
what I did through
Yeah.
the help of my friends
Hmm.
and having someone by my side this whole time,
Yeah.
which I think he like kind of says slightly, and they're just like, oh man, Buggy's so cool, and then they go off to fuck
Yeah.
off and fight the Sentry or whatever.
Hmm.
But
And
I
he,
think he could have really helped out Bob and this group as like the leader, even though I know Bucky has like no interest in leading anybody. He's like, I am a sidekick. Like
hmm
I cannot lead the Avengers.
Yeah, if him like
But
being
I
a
can lead the Thunderbolts.
yes, like him being as a senator, was he forced into this? Because it doesn't seem like something he would want to do on his own. I feel like he either wants to help people in the street beating up other guys or just being left alone completely. Because you see him in that interview, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking
Yeah.
about. And it was almost like, oh, Valentina kind of groomed him for this position because she was going to exploit it in some
Sure,
way.
yeah.
But no, it just seems like he was bored and like, well, if Sam Wilson gets to be Captain America, well, then I guess I'm going to be a senator. Like, it
Yeah.
just doesn't make any sense.
If it was like I killed so many people and I've done the superhero thing, Steve's gone, Sam's doing his thing, like I kind of don't have any like how can I give back? Oh, I'll get into politics
Hmm.
and help change the system that way. But then you never see Bucky like do anything with policy or
Mm-mm.
like talk about like a platform, which I know isn't like exciting stuff, but it's
No.
like then why give him that job?
Yeah.
You could have just been like, hey man, like I'm done with the superhero shit, and you know if Sam gives me a call, I might show up. But other than that,
He could
like
be a hired bodyguard to one of the senators or something because, like,
yeah,
what's his name? The black dude senator.
I don't know his character's name, but
Yeah,
Wendell Pierce is
Wendell
the
Pierce.
actor.
Like, he's afraid that Valentina is going to murder him
Yeah.
because he's going after her so hard. So he just hires Bucky, like, just be my be my bodyguard just in case.
Hmm.
And so he's there for all this stuff and then realizes, I can do something about this, and goes off and tries to get evidence. And Wendell Pierce is like, don't do it. We can't take the law into our own hands. Oh, it's all I know how to do. You know, it's just something.
Yeah.
And we don't get, I know we don't really need to see flashbacks from Bucky
Oh, I
because,
would if they were in there, I would cut them out. I don't need them.
but like, I think it could have been almost used as a joke, saying like, oh, well, what's your bad day? And it's like, you see like 40 memories all layered on top of each other of just these horrific things he's done through the years, and just going like, we don't have time for this, and then moving past it because he's already kind of absorbed and moved past it. He made his what's the not condolences, but he made his peace
Yeah, yeah.
in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and stuff. It's like, look, this will always be with me, but I've worked through this already.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But I mean,
handle
they
this
did
stuff.
use it as a joke in the scene where he's like, "Well, everyone knows my past was super fine and nothing bad
Oh,
ever
yeah,
happened."
that's true.
And
Yeah.
so it's like it was a smart way to like
To
write that off and
yes.
like make a joke out of it.
Uh-huh.
Even though it did make me laugh, it worked.
Yes.
So I'm glad they didn't do any Bucky stuff because
Mhm.
like we know his shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you need to give shit to Ghost
Yeah.
and to Walker
Mhm.
and to Yelena.
Mhm.
Even like we know their backstories, but we should see it.
No.
Um,
I'm surprised in the big fight at the end, we didn't get the Avengers Circle, but with the Thunderbolts, everybody
okay.
kind of in stand-in spots for other characters and just kind of do that same thing before they start helping people.
Mhm.
Just seemed like that's going into the movie. I would have bet money that we would have gotten some sort of parody of this. And Yelena made fun of Black Widow doing the hair whip thing. Like
Mhm.
they could see them doing that thing and her looking around and like, no, and just like, we're not doing this.
Yeah. So we get to the end. They're like, let's go break Valentina's legs. And she's like, oh no, guys, don't follow me. Ah! And she cuts around the corner. And then here's all the press that she mentioned earlier in the movie. Like, we called the press. They're on their way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems so weird. And this is another nitpick. And it's just to like, I know, just to end the movie.
Yeah.
But it's like, you just had all of New York City or all of Manhattan, wherever the fuck they are, just go into a shadow realm where everyone thought they were dead and reliving their worst memories. Those reporters were in the shadow realm,
Probably.
reliving the worst memories, and then they come back.
And I got a job to do.
Manhattan is saved or whatever. They have about 30 seconds to like figure out what's going on, and then they're just like, well, I gotta get this team. Like, I gotta do my job, guys.
When
like,
you
couldn't take a second.
When you live in New York,
stupid.
you have alien attacks. You had the blip. Things happen in this world, and you just got to roll with it.
But like, they didn't see the Thunderbolts save the day because they were behind a curtain. For all they know, they saw a guy in the sky who turned everything black, and then you see Bucky and this team of people who like they don't know who they are, and then
they know some of them,
or some of them, yeah. Like I'm sure they know Walker and Bucky,
and Red Guardian is a public figure in the world. Like he did shit in Russia. I don't think he was covert. Because he was having like a parade and stuff.
I don't think anyone remember him.
Maybe
in this way. I mean, unless you're like
a history buff,
or like, I guess you could be a superhero buff, and in this world, everyone would kind of be.
Maybe.
Whatever.
I think Ghost and Yelena are the ones that people don't know.
Yeah, and shouldn't know because they're secret government agents. Yeah. But they just come around this curtain and it's like, are you guys the new Avengers? Blah 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 blah. It's like, guys, like what the. Like, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
But I know that's just movie shit, and I'm not going to make a big deal of it. I just thought it was kind of silly.
So then we get to the post-credits?
And then we get to the post-credits. They're the new Avengers. It's 14 months later.
They got new suits.
And they all, I think, look pretty great. They're working at Stark Tower, which is now the new Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
That all looks really cool. And then Sam Wilson is suing the team for copyright infringement. It's like, what the fuck is this?
When they said Wilson, the first thing I thought of was Wilson Fisk. And I was like, oh, are they tying Daredevil to this? Wait, why would he be suing? Hey, wait. Oh, yeah, duh, Sam Wilson.
So Sam Wilson's team will be the Avengers. And then they're like, well, should we... Well, Red Guardian's saying, we can be the new Avengers with a Z, and that makes us cool. I mean, we skipped the mid-credit scenes where they're on the Wheaties box.
Yes.
Who cares?
That's just a joke.
Just a joke. You could have cut that out. And this scene goes on for quite a bit, and like you get some banter and you get some context on some things.
John Walker still hasn't bent his shield back. He's just going to have curved shield from now on.
Yeah.
You're never going to throw that thing again.
Bob is there, and they just wave the hand at that, and just like, hey Bob, sure would be helpful if you could come and use your powers. He's like, oh, I don't really do that anymore, guys. He just goes back to reading his book. He's like, I know you're not really reading over there, or whatever.
I think he needed to have he should have been petting the guinea pig that Yelena saved, because we didn't see what happened to that. I'm assuming she didn't just chuck it in the trash.
Yeah,
so that would have been nice.
She would have probably just set it free or something. Yeah. So anyway, just a real kind of silly scene, and it's like, oh, what's this going to lead to? And then, oh, we got an unidentified object coming in from outer space, and it's the Fantastic Four logo ship. And honestly, I didn't care about that little I mean, I really liked this scene. I just wish, like, it didn't really lead to anything I didn't know was already coming.
Sure.
In the sense of just like, we knew the Fantastic Four was going to join this universe in some regard, because clearly from the trailer of the Fantastic Four, they're in a separate universe.
They're not from our 60s.
They're not from our 60s. They're in another dimension, or not dimension. What did I just say?
Multiverse.
Multiverse,
just a different world.
So we know that, or at least chances are, the Fantastic Four movie, they lose. Galactus wins, destroys Earth, and they're like, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to fuck off to this other dimension and maybe recruit some heroes to save our planet. Or maybe their Earth doesn't get destroyed, but they're like, we can't win, so what if we freeze time? Like, you don't know the exact how that movie's going to end, but you can pretty much guarantee that there's a reason they came to our world. Probably
unless
because
it was accidental.
Unless it was, the
Silver Surfer does it, or they go like, I figured out my time quantum vortex thing, but have you tested it? No, let's just take a risk, and then they go.
Yeah.
But I think that does kind of spoil that something bad's gonna happen to their Earth.
So I would have got rid of the Fantastic Four thing, and like if you just cut it where it's just like, is that I mean, there's no way to do it. I don't know. I think you could have put a different tag on there, and it would have been more excited, because it's like, we know Fantastic Four is coming. The trailer's been out for months.
Yeah.
We we don't need investment in Fantastic Four. Like we're gonna go fucking see that movie. So just teasing the thing that's coming out 2 months from now, it doesn't do anything. It's like it pretty much is the same thing as the end of Brave New World with Brainiac or whatever the fuck his name is, just going like something's coming. It's like yeah, the multiverse is coming. It's like yeah, you announced Doomsday 2 fucking years ago.
Yeah,
like we all know this is happening. You're not teasing anything interesting.
I thought this was actually going to be a post credit for Doomsday in some way, because I like even though I saw the Fantastic Four trailer before this movie, I not that I forgot that it was coming out. I just kind of forgot that it's part of the MCU. It seemed like Thunderbolts is the last MCU movie until we get Doomsday a year from now.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, wait, we do have Fantastic Four coming. So it was a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought it was because I was hearing this is one of the best post-credit scenes ever. And I think it is just for their dynamic of them actually sticking with the team and being the new Avengers. But then teasing the Fantastic Four, like you said, like, yeah, no shit. Comes out in like 2 months. We know it's coming.
Yeah. I think it would have been, even though you've already teased the X-Men, like, what if it was, we haven't seen them in our universe. The only thing we've seen is Beast, Kelsey Grammer's character, where they went to his universe, I think. So what if it was, instead of the Fantastic Four ship, they're like, oh, there's a ship coming in from outer space, and you think it's going to be Fantastic Four because that's the next thing down the line. And then
it's the Blackbird.
The Blackbird come in and twist, and it's like, and then you hear that, and then cut the black or whatever. I'm not sure if that would be any better.
No, because we don't know how they're integrating the X-Men.
But at least it would have been something like that's down the line. Yeah. But I don't know if you need multiple X-Men teases.
Yeah.
Or throw in something new.
You don't need to tease X-Men because Doomsday will be the tease of X-Men because we'll have all those Fox characters coming back so they can get wiped out or whatever it is. And that's enough to get the hype going. Because a very... like maybe not Doomsday, but Secret Wars. Wait, which one comes first?
I think it's Doomsday and then Secret Wars.
So then by the time we get to Secret Wars, we may have our cast. We probably will have been casting X-Men. But they're probably doing it now. And they show up there, and whatever happens in that is the reason why mutants are in the MCU now. Because it could be, I took 1,000 of the most powerful mutants, and now they're on your planet, and that's just how they happen. So yeah, I think trying to tease them now is just probably not a smart idea. You just kind of have to tease the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I mean, it ultimately it's fine, not that big a deal. It just I don't know. I didn't care for the Fantastic Four part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, just them hanging out and talking about the mission or whatever is good enough for me.
Yeah. What do you think of did you do the same thing as me as when the Void is doing his shadow thing across New York? Are you just going, where the fuck's Daredevil and Spider-Man? What are they doing right now?
Whenever there's anything going on.
Are they going to mention this in some, like in Daredevil season 2 is like, that Void Day was pretty crazy, right?
Was crazy. For like 15 minutes, we were just gone.
Or when the new Spider-Man movie comes out, is Tom Holland going to be like, oh, man, the one day I go to New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's like,
Or he'll just be like swinging away from it, trying to stay away from the Void, and then it all goes away like, okay, I guess someone else handled that one. No, it's just like all comic book stuff.
Yeah.
Things happen. Some characters are in it, some are not. Do they reference it? Yes or no? It doesn't matter.
It ultimately doesn't matter.
It ultimately doesn't matter.
But it is one of those things like Spider-Man's the New York guy, and he's not here to save the day. His Spidey sense should be going off like crazy right now.
All those Daredevil Netflix shows, it was always just like the event, the day where all that thing happened. Yeah. That big green thing came around and did that stuff. Like they were so super vague about it just so they can try to tie it in. Whereas it's almost better to just don't even mention it because Spider-Man got sucked into the Void too. He was swinging to go save things, got into the Void, and then he was not. And then it was fine. And that's not the story of his movie, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. But I don't think I have anything else to say about this movie.
Hey, for a short episode, we're running pretty long.
Yeah. Well, and once we get talking about superhero stuff, we've gone for quite a while. So, all in all, is it the best MCU movie? Nah.
Top 5? No. Top 10? Maybe.
Probably. Did I have a good time? Ultimately, yep. Did I shed a tear? You bet. Nitpicks, problems here and there, of course. But all in all, I'm going to give it a... B plus.
Me too.
Yeah, B
Like
plus.
thinking about it, it's like, man, I really had a good time with that. But I can't give this movie an A
Yeah.
of any kind.
If I was going on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably go like 7.5. I don't know if I'd give it an 8, but 7.5.
Yeah, that sounds fair. Next week, you have any idea what's out next week?
The Irishman 2.
Yes, yes. It's actually a crossover with Alto Knights, so it's great. Like Robert De Niro is going to have like a really busy schedule. No, it's Clown in a Cornfield.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like the dumbest.
Do you think our
title.
theater's getting that?
Absolutely, it's getting a wide release. Yeah,
okay,
100%. And
seems like such a Shudder movie.
It does. And then Friendship. The Paul Rudd.
I might lean,
the cringe.
Yeah, I might lean towards Clown in a Cornfield, which, like, I love Paul Rudd and A24 and all that stuff. But I mean, A24 has misses, but it just looks like the kind of movie that would just make me uncomfortable all the way through. Yeah. And I think you're gonna love it. Probably. And I'm just gonna hate every moment.
Whereas Clown in the Cornfield, you could be like, all right, let me get off this high horse so I can yell at you of why this is such a bad movie.
Hey, it might surprise me and be kind of a fun time. I've enjoyed horror movies.
Yeah, apparently the book is a lot of fun. It's that's the ridiculous thing.
It's clown in a book.
Yeah, a guy wrote a book on his own, like self-published, and it became this huge hit because
you may have told me this
because it's a silly title. A clown in a cornfield. Okay, I could understand a werewolf in a cornfield. What the fuck is a clown doing? And I think it's just like that tropey sort of do whatever. It was so popular he made Clown in a Cornfield too. So expect this to be an ongoing series.
I can't wait.
All right. Well, if you want to get in contact with us, we are at WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. What'd you guys think of Thunderbolts? As always, I'm Ben.
And I'm Steve.
And may the 4th be with you.